Hey friends, welcome back. It's Missy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout and video for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2019 October kits again. And I'm finally going to be diving into a couple of the gorgeous pattern papers from Pretty Little Studio. I love the mix of these two papers, and I'm going to make them work as a background. I've got two black and white pictures to scrap today, some really cute selfies of me and my youngest daughter. She just decided to come over one day and almost choke me to death with snuggles and cuddles and kisses and hugs. So I grabbed my phone and took a couple selfies, and those are my favorite kind of pictures to scrap, just those everyday, sweet, spur of the moment moments. All right, so yeah, I just ripped that paper kind of on a diagonal there. Sometimes I feel bad about tearing gorgeous pattern papers like that, but I have an idea going and I just went for it. And you know, the longer I scrap, the longer I realize that it's okay to just tear the paper. Just rip it, tear it. If you've got an idea, just go with it. And so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the black and white polka dot paper is going to be my base, and the top part of the page is going to be the pink ombre paper, and then the bottom part is going to be the dots. I did want to do a lot more mixed media on the dot paper, and so I pulled out my white gesso, and I'm going to add quite a bit. I want to fade, not completely fade out, but just soften up a lot of the dots. You can kind of see what I'm talking about there. Some of them are more visible than others, but it just softens it up, and it thickened up the pattern paper, and so now it's ready for however much liquid or sprays or whatever I want to add to it. Okay, so my thought was I wanted to add a contrasting color, not pink, not orange, because I'm going to have a bunch of that up at the top. So I went with blue, and these two colors are not in this month's color kit. These are from previous month's kits. They are two of the Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst sprays, and I'm not sure what months we got them, but if you get the color kits every month, then you definitely have these. One of them is more of a lighter turquoise blue, and then the other one is more of a darker royal blue. And I just sprayed a little bit of each onto the paper, spritzed it with some water, and then I'm just kind of letting it blend. I'm turning the paper, I'm using a brush, and I just kind of had the idea of having this nice, pretty blue color wash area on the background there, kind of showing, kind of coming, looking like it's coming from underneath the pink paper. And sometimes I let this dry on its own. Sometimes I use my heat gun. Today I use my heat gun, and it does dry a lot lighter than when I first apply it, but I'm finding that that is the case lately when I'm using the Lindy's products on top of gesso. And it's also probably because I dilute it with water, and I'm okay with that. I like the different shades that this can create, and I did want this to be a softer blue. So I did want to do a little bit of mixed media on the pink paper, but I didn't want to add any extra color because, I mean, look at that paper. It's gorgeous as it is. So I thought I would add some white splatters, and my favorite way to add white splatters is to just water down a little bit of white acrylic paint and add I just said water it down, add a little bit of water, and then just use your brush and splatter it around. And the bigger the brush, the bigger the blobs you're going to get. And yeah, I love how the white just shows up so bright and crisp on top of a darker colored paper. And so I just wanted some little white splatters kind of peeking around the photos there. And I just kept going. And at first, when I saw this put together, I thought, this may not work. But we will see. We're going to keep going. So I thought that I would soften up the blue area just a tad bit more. So I'm going to scrape over some more white gesso. There's a ton of gesso on this polka dot paper. And it actually worked out great because my paper did not warp at all. I think the more gesso you add, the flatter it's going to lay, because as you can see, I've got a lot of product on there and it didn't warp at all. So I was very happy about that. So when I put the top paper back on top of it, I thought, I love the dots, but it's too crisp. I need something smudgy behind the pictures. So all I'm doing here is just adding a little bit of white gesso. I'm going to make it look very, very cloudy and hazy. And you're just going to be able to see this around the edges of the photo. And you're probably thinking, this is a hot mess. What are you doing? What is this? But I promise you it's going to get better. I know I was thinking the same thing. Sometimes the finished product idea is in my mind, but the actual creation of that idea sometimes looks like a hot mess. So bear with me, I promise. It's going to get better. I actually think it already looks better once I put the photos back on top of it, but all right, so now I kind of have my background done, and I'm going to start to play around with some of the embellishments. I have not used any of those white die cuts yet, so I'm going to be using at least one of those on this page. And since I've got all this light blue on the bottom, I felt like I needed to bring some light blue up to the top. So I'm going to use the remnants of a torn Pocket Life card as a layer behind the photo on the left that's blue, and then a piece of the Pretty Little Studio packaging behind the other photo. And then I'm going to start to play around with pretty much all kinds of things. Some of the tabs, some of the flowers, die cuts, let's see, stickers, chipboard pieces, a little bit of everything. And you know, if you got these kits, then you got plenty of leaves. And I don't think I've used any of these white die cut leaves yet. So I'm going to color a couple of them, and I'm going to use white gesso on them first because I don't want the sprays to just soak right through. I want these to look kind of watercolor-ish and not splotchy. I don't know how to describe it. You know the difference of when you use gesso and when you don't. I know I've talked about that a lot. So I wanted these to have the color kind of run and spread. And I'm going to use the yellow golden color, the Grab a Guy Gold that we get in this month's kit. And it's so pretty. It's so shimmery. It's yellow, it's gold, it's all the above. And when it's dry, it's so pretty. So I'm just going to color a couple of those, let those dry, and then start to play around with some other things. I've got the puffy stickers here, and I think all of the pieces that I'm using here are exclusive to Hip Kit this month. So I basically picked out things that were pink, that were blue. I try a couple things that are yellow. At this point, I wasn't sure if I wanted to add another color into the mix because I've got orange, I've got pink, a couple shades of pink, and then black, white, and the blue. I thought about adding some of these chipboard trees, but I decided against it, mainly because they're just too colorful. I didn't want too many colors, I thought. Sometimes I want to use all the colors, but sometimes I want to stick to just a few. And I am definitely going to use this cute little, I guess that's a fox. It's black and white. Is it a skunk? I don't know what it is, but it's adorable. And I'm going to use it there on the left side of the picture, and then I'm going to start to work on these big leaves I just colored. I'm going to try to use those. I do decide to add in the yellow golden color because once I saw what those leaves look like, I thought, okay, this color needs to be on this page and I need more of it. So I decided to go and pull out the rest of those white die cut leaves, cover them all with gesso, just using my finger there, and then I'm going to make a couple of different color leaves. I don't wind up using all of them, but I'm going to use the other two colors from this month, that fuchsia pink color, and then the violet color that has the blue shimmery powders in it. I'm going to make another yellow one, and I'm just spraying it directly on. I love how it reacts with the gesso. I get some lights and some darks. This is the, oh, which color is that? Oh, I'm also using some previous colors. That's what I'm doing. I forgot. I mixed in a lighter pink spray from several months ago, and then a darker pink from several months ago. I don't wind up using the violet purple one there, mainly because I just didn't have anything else in that color on the layout, so I don't wind up using that one. But I'm going to let those dry. They're kind of dry, not 100%, but I'm going to start to play around with those. I pulled out some more leaves from the, I don't know, I've been calling those vellum leaves. I don't know if they're 100% vellum, but they're not cardstock and they're not chipboard. They're kind of a very unique type of paper. I've been calling them vellum. I'm not sure what they are, but I love them. So I'm just going to start to tuck leaves in here and there and go with some of the chipboard pieces, some of the puffy stickers. I thought that I would put some leaves on both sides of the photos and then kind of create a little falling cluster of leaves kind of underneath the title. And my title is going to be Together. I thought about using Sweet or Memories because we get several really big long words. But since we were together in the pictures, I thought that that was an appropriate title. And I like the length of it. I like the size of it right where it is. I think it's perfect. I'm going to add in a couple of fussy cut leaves from that Truly Grateful pattern paper that's so pretty. And then I'm going to punch a couple from this Amy Tangerine paper using my same Martha Stewart leaf punch that I used last week. And I want that light blue color, and that paper has the perfect light blue color. So I'm going to punch a couple of those to scatter around the page. And now you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier when I was just on the background and I was saying this may look like a hot mess. And you can see now how by adding the photos and all the leaves and all the different colors of things, how it makes it look completely different. And I love that. And I always say that, you know, making a mixed media background, sometimes it has to get worse before it gets better. And so if you're new to mixed media, or you continuously try to get that perfect background, but you're just never satisfied with it, don't give up on it. Just, get it to where you think it's okay, or you can stand it. You don't want to throw it out. And then just start to add things back on top of it. And you can kind of see how it looks so different. Okay, so here you can see where I did a little bit of machine stitching on some of these leaves. Nothing is glued down, so I was hoping that I wouldn't drop this and mess up the design here, because at this point, if I start to move things, I'm never going to get them back where I want them. So I'm trying to be extra careful here and not mess up any of the placement of things. So I am going to add in my tangled thread. I know we're getting close to the end and you're probably thinking, what? Where's her crazy thread? Here it is. I'm going to use some of the golden yellow color, and I'm just going to very carefully tuck it underneath the right side of the photo on the right, a little bit kind of underneath the tear of the pink paper, and then a little bit of the darker pink color underneath the kind of the middle of the two photos, underneath them right there. And it's just going to add a nice little pop of that color there, and it's going to be visible just a little bit underneath the title there, which is what I like. I like for the thread to be just something subtle. It's awesome for adding extra little pops of color, extra texture, and it just kind of adds to the whole messy factor of the background, which I love. So yeah, this was interesting to glue down because I was trying to be very careful and not move anything. But I did have to move the chipboard pieces to take off the paper backing, but I'm going to very carefully glue those down, glue down all the leafy die cuts, all the photos. I want them to be a little bit staggered, kind of like you see there, and then very carefully glue down the leaves. And I love this color mix. I love all the different pinks. And I'm so glad I decided to add in that golden yellow color, because at first I wasn't going to. And I feel like now that I see it, it's perfect. So I'm going to very carefully glue down Together. And I like that that's overlapping the photos there. So I just kept gluing, and then I decided to go back to one of those leaves that I had colored yellow earlier, and I wanted something more of a light pink. Since I've got a couple of light pink leaves on the right, I wanted a little bit of light pink on the top and the left. So I just colored the back of one of those leaves, the light pink color, and used most of it above the photos, and then the part that I trimmed off over on the left. So that's another way to make your die cut stretch, is to, cut off the excess if you're going to run it off the page, and then use the other part somewhere else. So that way you don't throw anything away, and you can make it look like you had more die cuts than you do. Usually I do my journaling at the end, but I knew exactly where it was going to go, so I went ahead and did that using my black fine tip Sharpie. And then I wanted to do a couple more things here. This is one of the exclusive stamps. It's just a little phrase. It says, "You're the best." And I hadn't used that yet, so I thought that would be a nice little something something to add above one of the photos. And then I wanted to use some of these really cute exclusive orange puffy alphas. And I just wanted to create some kind of word underneath the journaling for another little pop of color and something in that area. So I just created the word memories, and I glued that down because nothing ever sticks to gesso. And then I added the date stamp. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is blue splatters. I'm going to go back to that very first blue that I used and just splatter some down there on the bottom half, and that is it. I love how this turned out. I hope you guys stuck with me, even though I'm sure you were skeptical in the beginning, but look how different it turned out. I think it's so cute, and I love that little fox/skunk animal over on the left. I'm usually not a cutesy animal type person, but, well, in real life I am, but not on scrapbook layouts. I struggle with using cutesy things like that. So yeah, I was excited to make it work, and it looks like he's kind of wrapped around the photo there. See, so cute. But anyway, I took a ton of close-ups. Lots of dimension here, lots of color, lots of texture, all kinds of different bits and pieces. But I hope you guys got some ideas from this. I hope it inspired you in some way. And I hope that you will give some of these techniques or ideas a try on your next project. And please let me know if you have any questions. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.